A verified Ling Ling. I practiced piano for 40 hours straight.
No way.
Dude,
Dude, that's a 40-hour video.
yeah, I want to see it.
Honestly. Oh. Live stream recording is not available. No, I wanted to see if it was
Yeah.
legit. No. This man was trying to summon Ling Ling.
Yeah, Ling Ling was like, maybe.
Yeah, it's like, oh, looking at the time. I didn't watch the stream, but assuming that you actually did it,
Congratulations.
respect.
What is the most difficult thing you've ever done? Was it some athletic achievement? Or maybe reaching some academic milestone? Or finishing some massive project? It can sometimes be a really hard question to answer, because different things can be difficult in different ways. For example, is it easier to work extremely hard for a short period of time, or work pretty hard over a long period of time? Further, how does the difficulty of the task change if the work is something you actually enjoy or find rewarding? See what I mean? It's not so simple to answer, is it? Because of that, it's hard to say whether the experience you're about to watch qualifies for the title, but I would be hard-pressed to find another task I tried that pushed me closer to the edge of quitting and let me hang so long on its cliff face. I can't think of another thing that required me to push past my physical limits quite so much, which forced me to endure more pain, both physical and mental, for as long a time. Yet with every difficult thing, there is a proportional and profound reward at its conclusion, a pride at having completed something you never thought that you could. These moments become important in our lives, journeys we look back on with triumph, victory, and even fondness. For me, this was certainly one of those moments. So allow me to tell you the tale of how a meme led me to do what is one of the most difficult things I've ever done. A bit over 2 years ago, I decided to set about the challenge of practicing the piano for 40 hours straight and live stream the whole experience. It was hard, obviously. You're probably wondering why I would do such a thing, and well, we'll get to that. The full 40-hour stream has been on the channel in 4 10-hour chunks for a while now, but I've always been meaning to edit it down to a watchable analysis and reflection. But a rapidly ending summer and intense final years of college made sifting through 40 hours of footage pretty low on my priority list. However, 2 years and several important life events later, I finally have the time to edit this behemoth. Let's start with the setup. At this point, I was still living in my parents' house, but they decided to leave for the weekend to celebrate their anniversary. This was my opportunity. While my parents were out having fun, I would wake up at 6 in the morning on Friday, July 31st, 2020, and start playing the piano at 6:30. I would then not stop, barring bathroom and meal breaks, until 10:30 on Saturday, August 1st, after I had streamed for 40 hours. This is how it went. For bathroom and for meals and the like, because, I don't totally want to die. Alright, now I decided that I would spend the first 2 hours of this mess doing scales and warm-ups and things like that. It's probably not going to be very entertaining for you guys. It's probably not going to be very entertaining for me either. But for now, you guys are going to be able to listen to 2 hours of me playing scales, just so I can fill this time. So, filled with hope and optimism, I started the journey in earnest by practicing all 12 chromatic 4-octave scales multiple times before switching over to arpeggios. Before I knew it, the first hour was over. Hey, we did it! Alright, we did nothing but scales and arpeggios for a whole hour. But that means we are 1/40th done, which is quite the accomplishment. I mean, we only have to do this 39 more times, and then that's it. Then I can go to sleep. The next hour was spent almost entirely practicing a warm-up routine by Muzio Clementi called Gratis ad Parnassum, a routine that should be easy to play in sight read. But let me take this time to explain a little of my piano playing background. I am by no means an excellent piano player. I learned the instrument first by fiddling around as a kid on my grandmother's piano, and later by fiddling on the piano you see here when my parents bought it. I began teaching myself simple piano arrangements of songs from video games, primarily Final Fantasy, a habit that would last from age 11 to about age 17, on and off. It wasn't until I went to college that I began taking piano more seriously, finally taking lessons and learning more traditional repertoire. The me that you're seeing now had been taking lessons for about 2.5 years, with about 7 years of self-teaching induced bad habits. I have some technical aptitude from the 7 years teaching myself, but it's sloppy and unpolished. I have trouble playing without looking at my hands, making sight reading a near impossibility. I get very tense on the instrument, leading to limited control over my expression. I also suffer from extremely bad posture, a vice whose consequences would soon threaten my entire mission. But for now, we've only just finished the second hour. How are you guys feeling about this? 'Cause I'm feeling alright. We're only 2 hours in. I don't know. We're like 1/20th of the way there, right, though? So we only have to do this 19 more times, and then we're done. I think we can do it. I have faith in us. Alright, Chopin. Learning a Chopin etude may be perhaps a little ambitious, but I had already spent several weeks learning bits of the Torrent etude and had a good chunk of it memorized at this point. Besides, I have 40 hours, right? And then it goes on forever and for always, and it's so much fun when you can get it, but it's so sloppy right now because I don't have it up to speed yet. But we're gonna go less than half that quickly. The next 2 hours were spent here, and it was as painful as one might expect. Something that you also hear is, don't practice till you get it right. Practice till you can't get it wrong. I don't have the patience for that. Not a good sign if I want to keep this up for another 37 hours. I hated every second of what I just did. Up here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. What? F double sharp, G sharp, E sharp, F double sharp, G sharp, A sharp, F double sharp. Oh, by the way, we passed 4 hours, so we passed being 1/10 of the way done, which I think is a huge milestone. Being 1/10, like, we're practically almost finished.
We're practically almost finished.
At this point, I should let you know that just the day before this, I had broken my previous practice record, practicing longer than I ever had before, a staggering 4 hours. I mean, come on, what's another order of magnitude more? Boy. I still got a long way to go. We're going to put down that piece, and I'm going to head to lunch. After a brief lunch break, I returned, deciding it was time to switch gears. All right, let's get back to it. We started with a Chopin etude, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to a piece that's significantly easier, that I've played a little bit but haven't gotten down, and that is Debussy's Arabesque No. 1. This was a very relaxing change of pace. Debussy happens to be one of my favorite composers, so I was glad to be playing something so pleasant and calming. This, however, drastically contrasted with the first major obstacle of the day. Remember when I said bad posture would threaten the mission? Oh. That's one thing I didn't completely anticipate, was my back and shoulders starting to hurt. That could be a problem moving forward. Wonder if there's something I can do about that. Whether I might need to take more frequent breaks. Maybe get a chair with a back on it and then play the piano with a back. I might need to do that because my back and shoulders are both bugging me like crazy. An additional flaw that's easy to recognize looking back is that I have a very short attention span. The relative simplicity of Debussy's Arabesque No. 1 made me uncertain how to practice it, and that uncertainty made me just want to move on. So after 45 minutes, I quit, and briefly moved to his reverie instead before finally settling on a classic, the first piece I ever learned in my piano lessons. Hey, that's a good idea. I haven't been drinking water. Wait, I'm gonna get a cold water bottle from the fridge. Thank you for the hydration reminder. This should be a reminder to all of you watching as well. Make sure you drink water. Also, thank you guys for dealing with this. It's probably gonna get real slow, and a whole lot of nothing for the next several hours because, it's gotten to that point. I expect between. There's going to be like a solid 20 hours in the middle that are just... Well, I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be exhausted. And I'm just going to be, trying to get through this as best I can. And I don't know how much commentary I'm going to be able to make or how well I'm going to be able to play. That's part of the experiment. It's figuring out when I started getting diminishing returns on the practicing. I worry that that's already started, which is bad news because I've only been playing for 6.5 hours. The reality of my task was finally setting in. I had already played piano much longer than I ever had before, reaching the point where a dedicated performance major may decide that he's had enough for the day. I remember talking to a good cellist friend of mine who astounded me with the information that she often plays about 6 hours a day. At the time, I felt playing so long just once was monumental, yet here I was, going beyond that. But the craziest part? Not only did I need to keep going, but I wasn't even halfway done. I wasn't even close. I hadn't even reached a quarter of the way through. I still had a massive 34 hours left to play, a number of hours in itself a challenge to do. On top of that, the pain in my shoulders had reached searing levels. It was an intense burning sensation that sent agonizing pain shooting through my body at every small movement of my neck. I knew I couldn't continue with the pain, and yet I didn't know how to ease it. You know what, at the 10-hour break, I'm going to get my swivel chair from my room. See if it helps leaning my back against something. Right now, my shoulders and back are really starting to hurt, which is probably the main concern with moving forward. So I wonder if being able to lean against something would help. So we'll try that out. We'll see what happens. Whenever I'm working on something, practicing anything, it seems, at first you make rapid progress, but then that progress slows down, and eventually it starts to go backwards. So you stop, you take a break, and then you come back to it, and then you're better. If anything, this little experiment that I'm doing is proving that that's more than just a hunch. That's just the way things are. My impatience led me to switch back to playing arabesque, during which I, for the first time, seriously thought about giving up. I could not seem to linger on a piece for more than an hour. I was growing increasingly restless and bored. I had played longer than I ever had before. My shoulders were causing me intense pain, and I had barely even begun. Whew, oh boy. Guys, this is going to be tougher than I thought. I don't know what I expected, but this is definitely not easy. I think the main problem right now is just that my shoulders hurt, which is why I'm going to get that backrest at 10 hours. At the beginning of hour 8, I decided I would spend the next 2 hours on an experiment to see if I could learn, in one sitting, a piece that I'd never seen before. It was something I've wanted to try for a while now, and figured this was the perfect time to attempt. The piece I wanted to learn? The prelude to the Suite Bergamesque. It went poorly. Alright. They want me to use my fourth finger here, and I don't want to. I'm going to use 3 instead. A hero in the chat even tried to help me with my posture problems. He's telling me to sit up straight. I suppose I could be slouching. Do you think that could be why my back is hurting? Because I'm slouching a little bit? Well, I'll try to sit up more straight. I wish I had listened. I'm starting to think attempting to learn a piece at this state, you know, like at 9 hours into playing the piano might actually be an awful idea. Because I don't think I'd be able to put in like the mental energy to like learning a new piece, like brand new. I think that might be a bad idea. So I stopped and moved to the 5th piece in 4 hours. His Dr. Gratis ad Parnassum, named after the exercise I did way back in hour 2. Oh no. For a second I forgot what I was doing. I'm assuming after this ends, like when we get to 10 hours, the next 20 hours will be a nightmare. And I will hate every second of them. And then the last, like, 10 hours, I'll be encouraged to keep moving. If only I knew what those last 10 hours would really be like. But we're not there yet. There were definitely things I could have done to prepare for this better. But I didn't really know what to do or what to expect. So I just kind of did what I thought was right. Finally, we finished the first 10 hours. Oh, it's time. Okay, we're good. Alright, guys. So we did it. We made it to 10 hours. Well, we made it to 10 hours. That's pretty cool. Look, when I endeavored upon this task, I really had no idea whether... Well, I still do have no idea whether I'm actually going to be able to make it to 40. One of the reasons why I live streamed it was to ensure that I'm maximally motivated to make it as close to 40 as possible. Currently... At present, I still intend to make it all the way, but it's gonna be tough. These first 10 hours were a bit of a struggle. Now I don't know what's more sacrilegious. Actually attempting to play an instrument for 40 hours straight, or playing the piano on a computer chair. I had been looking forward to this milestone because I had decided ahead of time that I would do a little Q&A with the people watching. Initially, it served 3 important functions. First, a break from playing piano. Second, an opportunity to interact with you, the audience. And third, an opportunity for you, the audience, to get to know me a little better. In this Q&A, I decided to answer the question that is likely on the forefront of your minds right now. The question I promised we would get to eventually. What made you do this in the first place? Now that's an amazing question. Okay, let's talk about why I'm doing this. Well, the inception of the idea of 40 hours came from Two Set Violin, the YouTube channel, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. They have this joke about the music prodigy Ling Ling, who practices his or her instrument for 40 hours every single day to get so good at the instrument. And that's what you gotta do. In order to be as good as Ling Ling, you gotta practice 40 hours a day. And that's like a meme they have on their channel. And then I saw one day on the subreddit, it could have been like a year ago or so, I saw someone say like, oh, if this gets X amount of upvotes, if my fan art gets X amount of upvotes, I'm gonna play the piano for 40 hours. If she was gonna do it, I had to see. So she got the amount of upvotes that she asked for. And then she posted a little bit later, like with a selfie, and she was like, I just finished playing the piano 40 hours, video's coming up quick. There was no video. There was no proof. So I was like, well, she was our only hope to be the person that would actually play 40 hours. And then I thought, well, I suppose there could be another. Why don't I do it? And so, okay, that's the meme reason, but there are other reasons that it might actually be more important. I think the real reason why I'm doing this is curiosity. I want to know if I can. Like, theoretically, it's just a matter of willpower, right? Like, that's all it would take. Just to have the will to continue to play for 40 hours. And I wonder whether I have such a will. I guess we'll find out. I'm planning on making a video after this that's sort of a retrospective. It's like, you know, me looking back and deciding, why did I do this? Was it worth it? What did I learn? Would I ever do it again? Odds are the answer's no. After playing for 10 hours, I don't think I'd do this again. And yeah, I'm curious, really. It took 2 years, but that's the video you're watching now. As for whether I would do this again, well, you're gonna have to wait for the answer to that one. Do you feel okay? I'm alright. I mean, I'm not 10 out of 10 anymore, but maybe I'm a solid 5 out of 10? That might be enough to keep me going for 40 hours. We'll see. Oh boy. We still got a long way to go.